Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody.
You want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Okay, so I'm Jenna Glassman. I am from the Illinois Valley Community College District, which is in the central location is around Peru, Illinois, Peru, Ottawa, Mendota, Princeton, that kind of area of Illinois. I went to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and majored in philosophy. And yeah, if you want to share something about.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maddie Haymond. I work in the Waubonsee Community College District, so that's outside of Chicago in the Aurora area. And I went to Illinois State University for my undergraduate degree. I studied psychology, amongst other things. And today we're going to talk about student organizations and clubs. It's a really great place to connect socially, academically, professionally on campus. And we'll just talk about our experiences a little bit with our student clubs and organizations we were a part of, and just some, I guess, general advice we would give to students heading off to college.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to share
Yeah.
your experiences in student clubs.
Sure. So I think that I would want to touch on why you should join a student organization in the first place. And, especially if you're going off to a four-year college where you're getting your bachelor's degree, student organizations are the best way that I found to make super quick, easy friends that have the same interests as you. And your friends and your friend groups are going to be super, super important in college because that's kind of your support system away from home. So I think that that's a really good reason why you should look into clubs and organizations. And so I think that, sorry. So trying to find the right club for you. I think I went to Quad Day, which was at U of I. They would, basically shut down the whole quad for the day, and every RSO is what they're called, a registered student organization. They would all have like a tent or a booth set up on the quad with informational packets or business cards or, like candy and pens and, swag, stuff like that, free stuff to give out. And on Quad Day, you can basically just walk around the whole quad and find some clubs that you're interested in, find some people that you connect with, and just show up at the first meeting and give it a try. If you're nervous to go alone, I would suggest, bring your roommate, bring a friend, and just see what can happen. So when I was a freshman, I tried out probably like 6 different RSOs before I found the one that I really liked and stuck with all 4 years. And not everyone's going to follow that format either, but so I tried out like the meditation club. I tried out the squirrel watching club, which that was really fun and random that we had it at our
really
university.
Have clubs for everything.
Yes. You can find like a SpongeBob club if you're into that, like anime clubs, like basically any interest that you have. At U of I think there's over 250 registered student organizations. So I tried out a couple of those. And then the ones that I ended up sticking with were choir, which I did for my freshman year. And then I quit that after my freshman year, but all 4 years, I was in an RSO called The Collective, which was an art magazine. And we did like fundraisers and events and concerts and like collabs with local artists and bands and stuff like that. We did a lot of, again, fundraisers. So we would do like a thrifting fundraiser where all of our members would bring in their old clothes and we would set up a little booth at like a coffee shop or on the quad and people would come buy it. And I was on the event planning team for that. So even though it was like the RSO was for a magazine, like I wasn't, writing, I wasn't taking pictures, I wasn't graphic designing. I was on a completely, different part of the team for that. So I think it just shows that every RSO is super diverse in the roles that you can play in it and in what you can take home from it. So that's basically my experience with RSOs. I don't know if you want to talk about yours.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's super interesting that I'm giving this presentation because I was not someone who was very involved. That's something I actually really regret about my college experience. I was definitely a very shy person. I still am, but I'm a pretty shy person. And I went to a school where I didn't have a lot of friends I knew that also went with me. So I was just like so uncomfortable kind of putting myself out there. But I look back and like some of the things I did do, and I wish I just involved myself more. Because not only is it really great for making friends, but it's also really great for just getting more diverse experiences while you're in college, like outside of just taking your classes. There's a lot of like academic and professional organizations you can join to help like pad your resume up, or just like explore, like if you're not sure what you want to do after college, you can still explore that while you're still in school outside of just taking classes. So what I did, the organizations that I was involved in, I was involved in kind of like weird like ones for my major. I was a part of something called the American Choral Directors Association, or ACDA, which is actually like a professional organization that people who work in like the choral field are a part of, and they do like conferences and stuff like that. And I was a part of it. I was not a music major. I was just in choir, but all my friends were talking about it one day, and they invited me to come to a meeting, and I really liked it. It was really fun because we got to just sing music a lot, and we got to like look at new music, and we also did a lot of like help planning music events on campus. So I did that even though I was not part of the major at all. So it was a really kind of cool experience, even though it didn't really like align with what I wanted to do. And then I was also a part of a recreational dance team, which was really fun. I got to choreograph, I got to dance, we got to perform, we danced at the homecoming parade. What else? We'd also do some like philanthropy and like fundraising and stuff as well. And then I was also a part of the honor society for my major. So a lot of different majors have honor societies as a part of them. And as a psychology major, I was in, it's called Psi Chi, kind of fits the name. I didn't do a whole lot with it. It was a pretty flexible thing. And I also was in college during the pandemic. So I think my experiences in student clubs were maybe different than they normally are. But that was just really just kind of, I guess, having a little community with my fellow majors. And I got to have a court at graduation. So I felt a little fancy for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree with what Jenna said about going to those types of like student organization fairs. Like every school has them. I know Illinois State University has one of those. They usually have one each semester too. So like if you're someone who's transferring in, like I transferred into ISU. So I was able to go to one. There was one in the spring and the fall. And that's a really great way to like kind of walk around, see what's out there. But maybe you're someone who's maybe like a little nervous to do that, a little shy to like go and talk to someone. Something I did a lot was I would go on the student life website of my school, and they would have a whole list of all the different student organizations that are available. And it would actually link to social media pages for them. So if they had a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, things like that, I could go on there and I could see kind of what was going on day to day. And that helps too, because sometimes when you're at the organizational fairs that they do, it's like hard because they want people to get into the group. So you don't get to see like what it is actually day to day. It's like a very fun event, but it's not always reflective of like what it's like to be in the group. So when you go on like the social media, you get to see like the different events they do, and I don't know, see like the members of the group, and just get a little bit more of a taste of what they actually do. And yeah, I also would say like just try things out. Like a lot of the times there's not like a commitment. It's not like the first time you go to a meeting, have to be a part of that club forever. So just go and, try. If there's a person, that is going to a club, just tag along with them and just see what it's like. I know I was a part of a choral music organization, and I was not a music major whatsoever. So, even things like that you'd feel is only for a specific major or a specific kind of career path does not mean you cannot be a part of it. Because, maybe it's just a place for you to make friends. Maybe it's a hobby of yours, or maybe it's just something you want to learn more about, like me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think also touching on the point of social media, I just kind of want to reiterate that, just because you're joining a certain student organization doesn't mean that you have to be doing like exactly what the club says it's doing. So For example, like you could be working for, say, the art magazine, but you could be doing social media. So you could be the person that's, posting videos of your events, editing videos, posting pictures, posting information, creating infographics, all of that sort of thing. And I think that's also, it's RSOs are a really good way for you to earn some leadership opportunities. So, if you stick with a club by your junior or senior year, you can usually apply to be on that executive board of the club. And that's really good professional experience to add to your resume for when you start looking for jobs after you graduate.
Even if it's something you're not, like, even if you think it's like, oh, I'm just a part of, I don't know, the photography club or something,
Right.
but like being the leader of it, you learn a lot of skills that are applicable to jobs, event planning, fundraising,
Exactly.
leading meetings, public speaking, things like that.
And I think RSOs are just a really good way to show that you are a really well-rounded person and that you really took the opportunity to branch out within your school community beyond just going to school there. And I think, something else that's important to talk about is the types of RSOs. You want to, kind of look into this before maybe you commit to a school and make sure that they have some kind of club or organization that is going to fit your interests. So if you're, a certain religion, you want to make sure that they have, a prayer space available for you. You want to make sure that maybe they have a club or a group that meets and talks about, your religion. If you're wanting to join Greek life, you want to make sure that, the school has fraternities and sororities, whether, you want to join a professional fraternity, sorority, which those looks really good on your resume, or you want to, live in the sorority house with, 100 other girls. You want to make sure that, that the school that you're picking has those sorts of things. If you're a band kid or a theater kid, you want to make sure they have that for you. If you like to play sports, make sure that this school doesn't only have varsity sports, but that they have intramurals or clubs or teams or stuff, so you can still play sports even if you're not, varsity athlete type. So I think all of that is super important as well. And just, again, establishing those connections with people that have similar interests with you is really going to help you. It really helped me feel a lot less homesick when I was at college. I struggled really bad with homesickness. And the thing that made me feel the best was to be around my friends and to be around other people that enjoyed the same things as me.
I agree. And at least for me, I was excited for the social aspects of college, but I think a lot of my focus and my like fears were rooted in like doing well. What does this mean? I'm paying all this money to go to school. What career am I going to have? So having like an organization that was more just for fun, at least for me, like sometimes there's always going to be a mix of like, serious things and then also just like fun recreational things. But it was nice to have that like outlet to do something that wasn't so like, okay, so career oriented. I have to do my best. I have to be perfect. I have to, go above and beyond. It's like something I can just be with my friends, kind of have a creative outlet and just kind of let go a little bit, especially I was also a very homesick person as well. And so it was nice to have like kind of a place where I can get out of my dorm or my apartment and like go socialize, but in like a safe place and not like a academic space where you're like, okay, I have to get good grades and like, I'm afraid to talk to my professors. It's like just cool. And you're surrounded by people who at least share that interest in common, if not other things. So,
yeah. And I think one more thing I want to touch on is just professionally, it's always really good when you're in college to just build connections wherever you go. I have a ton of people on my LinkedIn network now from the RSOs that I was in who are all going into different careers and different fields. And, I have that really good, solid foundation of professional connections that I made with other people who were interested in the same things as me. So, if not for having friends or not feeling homesick, maybe just join an RSO to get some of that professional experience. And, if you are at a school that maybe doesn't have an RSO that you feel like is really for you, there's also the opportunity to create your own. I had a friend that created an environmental club or an environmental science club for Black students specifically, because, he saw that there was a need for that at our school. And you usually just like apply for it and that you don't have to pay any money or anything. They usually end up giving you some money to run the club. So again, just building your professional network, making friends, and putting yourself out there is going to be really important in college. And I think that RSOs can really guide you along a lot of those experiences.
For sure. Yeah, I thought creating your own club was so cool. And yeah, it's usually like you can do it pretty easily. You maybe need like 5 or 10 people to sign up with you. But yeah, and you don't have to like come up with something completely new. Like you can, like for example, I had a lot of friends that did a cappella in college, and even though there were, I think, 4 different a cappella groups at the time, they wanted to make another one. They wanted to like run it themselves and do it their own way. So it's not like if there's a group that you have in mind, but you're like, oh, there's already a kind of a club like that on campus already. It's like, no, if you can get the people to sign up with you, you can create it and make it your own way. I mean, or you can always just be in the group and work your way up to a leadership position as well. And then you can start making changes too. So yeah, you definitely can there's a lot of flexibility and creativity you can do with clubs. And the time commitment is also something that'll vary too. Like, for example, for me, my dance team was like twice a week, at night. But then my psychology honor society was like a once a month virtual meeting. So if you feel like you can't fit RSOs into your schedule at all, I 100% get that. I was working a lot whenever I was in college. So the idea of like managing my classwork and my job, I was like, I can't add clubs onto it too. But, that's always something worth talking to someone that's in the club, or kind of like looking into it. Like, again, like I love to creep on social media and be like, what does the meetings look like? Sometimes there's, virtual meetings instead of in person, especially if you're like maybe go to a community college or maybe a more commuter school where it's like, it's not always plausible for you to drive to campus for something. There might be virtual options. It might be more of a monthly thing. It could be a weekly thing. So really what the takeaway is that there is a student club and organization for you, but, depending on the type, your interests, your ability to commit, time or, just like effort to it. But no matter what, there's always something to gain from them, whether it's, just social opportunities, academic or professional opportunities, networking. So we really encourage you, even if you can just start with one that you really like. And I feel like from there you'll hopefully get some good experiences and it'll spill into other things you might want to pursue. Yeah. I just needed one thing to be like, right. Like I like this. I like socializing with people.
Yes. I picked one club, The Collective, when I was a freshman, and I stuck with it for all 4 years. That's where I made all my best friends that I'm still friends with now. So again, it's just a really good way to put yourself out there and get yourself acclimated to college. And gain some extra professional experience that you're not necessarily getting through your classes. Mm-hmm. But I think that's about all I have. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I think we just about covered it. I just want to put it out there. If you're like me and you're extremely shy, or you feel like you're kind of like this imposter of like, oh, I don't fit in. I don't belong on this campus. You do. And I think clubs and organizations are like the best place to find that feeling and that sense of community, because classes, you're not always like interacting with your classmates all that much. You might be in a big lecture hall. I know I was, at least when I was in my earlier like years in college. It's like you kind of just feel like you're one of many. You're not like, you don't feel this sense of identity right away. Mm-hmm. But going and joining these clubs and organizations, even if it's just one, now that's like one part of your identity that maybe helps you feel like you're more grounded in the campus and you belong. And I want to put that out there. Like, don't be afraid that, the groups want you to join them. Yes. You are not like weird. You're not going to be judged. Like I know in my groups, we were always like desperate to have people join because it was always so small. So especially during the pandemic, a lot of people were discouraged from joining, but I promise you, like, go try something new. You don't have to commit to it, but you might just meet your best friends or, find a new interest. So it's worth just trying just once.
Yeah. I think that's the best advice. Just try out at least one club. I would, excuse me. Oh my gosh, excuse me. I would personally recommend trying out a couple, just because there's different facets to you as a person and different facets to your personality, and they all deserve to be explored during college, because that's kind of the purpose of college, is so you can learn
Right.
about yourself. So definitely try out a couple. Don't overdo it, obviously, and join like 5 clubs your first semester. But just, try to find your way into where you fit, and you will find something eventually that you love to do.
Yeah.
If you just, keep putting yourself out there and keep trying.
It's always easier said than done, but
yes,
speaking from my
absolutely.
experience, like I definitely regret not putting myself out there more. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid, be daring.
Yes.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I
right?
think we're wrapping up. So thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoon.
Bye, everyone.